What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome back. We are going down memory lane again tonight. Mike Val here hosting once again. And, last week we had or 2 weeks ago, we had a good following for the first show. And we had Billy Hall, and Billy was talking about the evolution of the ball. So, what do you throw the balls on? You need a lane to throw the balls on. And, there wasn't anybody better I could think of that could talk about past and lanes better than the Laneman of Lanemen. I'm going to call this guy the Tom Brady of Lanemen. Buddy of mine, he said I'm his favorite Italian. So let's bring on PBA Hall of Famer, the Phantom, Lenny Nicholson, my handsome counterpart. I tell you what, I couldn't have anybody better to come on and talk to me with this. I couldn't. So thank you, bud.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the kind words. And I got one question. I was telling all my buddies last night about I'm going to be on the show, and they go, "How do I find it?" And I go, "It's Mike. It's Val. It's Jackie's husband. I got 100 names for you, but so
it is shared
down memory lane, right?
Down memory lane. It is shared. I just put it back on Facebook. It's all over Facebook. It's on YouTube. It's on the channel. So we are there. So we're ready to go. So well, thank you, buddy. How are things in California?
It's a little crazy out here, floods and earthquakes and fires and all that. It's famous for being the land of the fruits and the nuts. If you're not one, you're the other. So you got to be crazy out here.
As long as you're okay, that's all I care about. That's all I care about.
Well, thank you. I've been able to avoid tragedy so far. Just had my 85th birthday. Hard to say that, man. It's hard to say that word.
Well, happy birthday. I knew it was your birthday, and happy birthday, and another year around the sun. We're glad that you're still kicking, bud.
Thanks, Mike. I've seen a lot in my day, I'll tell you the truth. And I love to share it, so I'm glad you got it.
We want to hear about the good old days. Like, I don't know if you heard Billy Hall last week or 2 weeks ago. Billy was great.
I did. I heard the show.
He talked a lot. I mean, you told me Billy talked too much, and that's fine, Constructive criticism.
No, you know what it was. Truthfully, I see a lot of these podcasts going on and all that, and I did a lot of research with mine, and it seemed like 25 minutes was about the right amount of time. Mm-hmm. If you ran out of time, that was good. Come back next week or 2 weeks from now, and we'll finish it up. Always leave them wanting more, So a lot of times, if you look and it says, "Oh, the show is going to be an hour and a half," mm-hmm. I don't have an hour and a half sometimes, and I'm sure some people do too, but that's up to them. But anyway, that's just me.
He really likes to talk, though.
Oh, so do you. I mean,
yeah, I do too. But we've had 2-hour phone calls before, so don't cut yourself short either.
I know, but I've been trying to go to the bathroom the whole time.
So let's shoot for 45 minutes today. I think that's going to be that's the goal.
All right, and listen, if we run out of time, I can come back.
Absolutely.
For part 2, man, and everybody will be saying, I want them back on 3 times, whatever. So
when I put it out there that you were coming on, I had a lot of people already message me with a bunch of questions they want to ask you and whatnot.
Okay, so, well, if we get a lot of things like that, we'll extend it. We're not on any time limit. That's fine.
So let's start with the simple one, right?
Okay.
So you were the lane maintenance program for the PBA. You started it, right?
It was me and Sam Baca. Yes.
So let's hear it. How did it start? Why did it start? Let's hear it.
Okay. This goes way back to the first days of bowling. They only had 1 and 2 lanes, and usually the most valuable person in that lane, that bowling center, even though it was only a 1 or 2 lane place, was a lane man. He'd go in the middle of the night, he'd clean everything up, he'd sweep the floors, he'd spray a little bit of something, mineral oil or something on the lane, and he'd take care of the lane. And then as time went by, fast forward 20, 30 years, bowling became popular. And all of a sudden now, bowling centers were 20, 24 lanes. And all of a sudden, it got popular. And then all of a sudden, all these manufacturers came up with these lane machines, okay? And so all you got to do is push the button. Well, that was all good on the chalkboard, but never worked very well with scratch bowlers. It might have been okay for ladies and the old-timers, juniors. When you put the pro bowlers together, these guys are great. 160-man field, there's 100 of them that can win any week. And if one side has a little bit of an advantage, they're going to dominate. So that started happening in the 60s. And the main reason for that was the ABC at the time was getting a lot of guff from the proprietors. Why do we have to close down every summer for 2 weeks? I don't want to close my bowling center. I'm doing a land office business, and my lanes are beautiful. I got a lane man, the whole 9 yards. So they put pressure on the ABC. They said, okay, you don't have to do the lanes until they're past specifications. And so now that opened the doors for some of these proprietors to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years without, resurfacing the lanes. Now what happened? All the abuse was on the right side. The left side was still virgin territory. So when you put a scratch tournament together in the 60s, basically, the lefties would have a big advantage. This was true in league play. It was true in the women's tour. It was true in the ABC tournaments, championships. You look in the 60s, especially the major tournaments were the long formats. There was no way the righties could keep up. So it all came to an end pretty much in San Jose when there were 16 guys in the finals, and all 16 were left-handed. And that was kind of brutal. Guys were getting ready to kill each other, lefties, righties, and all that. So at that time, I had gotten a divorce, and I moved back to Kentucky with Billy Hardwick, the guy I grew up with. And finally, he left to go back on a tour. I didn't want to live with his wife in the house. I says, what are you going to do with me? He says, well, come out on the tour. You can be a gopher. You go pick guys up at the airport, go to McDonald's, do their laundry, all that kind of stuff. I said, what about food? Well, I'll get 7 or 8 guys to give you $25, and then they give you tips for all the little things you do. And then you can sleep on the floor. And I thought, this is awesome, because I always loved sports. And this was the closest I was ever going to be to sports, because these guys, the pro bowlers, are unbelievable top athletes. So that's what happened. So I started going in the middle of the night because I was doing lobby duty. I sleep in a room with 3 or 4 guys. Sometimes they have a girl or two, and they didn't want somebody around sitting around watching. So I'd go down the bowling alley, and I'd walk in, and some guy doing the lanes said, who are you? And I'd say, well, I'm Billy Hardwick's manager. Oh, Billy, yeah, he's awesome. He was the bowler of the year back in the 60s. Da, da, da. So I got in every time, and I'd find out what they were doing. Well, Sam Baca had just now quit the tour, and he took a job as a regional activities director. And I knew Sam from back in the Bay Area days. And so he came to me one day, and he says, what are you doing for a living? I says, I'm a gopher, man. This is awesome. I've been waiting on the pros, I just brought just stuff an extra Coke, I was big time. And so he goes, oh, well, listen, if you have to do lobby duty, go in there and take notes, see what's working, what ain't working, because it's a house condition, blah, blah, blah. So that's when we started seeing some unbelievable things. One day the cook would oil the lanes. The next day some kid would oil the lanes. Next day, nobody would come in and do the lanes. And it was just a haphazard. There was nobody responsible for it.
And this is on the tour?
This was on the tour, yeah, because nobody cared. What's a little bit of oil, nobody knew anything about oil and lanes and stuff like that. So then that tournament happened in San Jose, and all the players, we got to do something. So Eddie Elias said, we're going to start a lane maintenance program. So in the summer of 71, we started it. And the funniest part was our first tournament was in Anaheim. It was a Brunswick house. And so we went in to do the lanes for the tournament, and Brunswick threw us out. Get out of here. You guys don't know nothing. We know our houses. We have our own maintenance crew, blah, blah, blah. So, all right, they threw us out. So unbelievably, an amateur lefty won the tournament. His name was Gary Madison. And from then on, Brunswick said, we're not touching our lanes again. You guys are the experts. So we got along fine with him after that. But that was basically what happened. And so we went out there, and what happened was every Tuesday they'd have a tournament committee meeting. And Harry Golden would go in there to the tournament committee, and he'd say, okay, old business, new business, now lane conditions. And they'd talk about that. That was always a big part of the tournament. And they were all pissed off, the bowlers. And so he says to me, Harry Golden says, get Sam out here. He says, he's in charge. The only reason you're doing it is because you're big, The bowlers want to yell at you because you're a big guy. They're afraid of you. So that's the only reason I got the job. I was big. So, they asked me, what do you know? I said, nothing. They said, that's good, because just do what Sam tells you to do. And so Sam was back east doing a pre-tournament check. And I called him up. I said, Sam, they want to see you in the tournament committee. Why? What's the matter? I said, I don't know, man. I said, we've had 5 tournaments now, and they're all beautiful. Bourdain won. He's pretty much down and in. Gus Lambeau won a couple of them, down and in. They were fair left to right. We're probably going to get a raise. He goes, nah, there's something up. He says, okay, pick me up at the airport next Tuesday, whatever. So I did. We went to the tournament committee meeting, and so there's 17 guys in there. Now, this is 1971. If you think back, that's the golden era of bowling.
That was right after. That was Johnny's big year, right? Was it Johnny's big year in 71?
Yes, it was. And it was Ritker was out there,
Stefan Johnson, right?
Yeah. All the great players were out. Yeah. So we go in, and we're sitting on the side, and Harry Golden, all right, here's old business, now new business. And now, fellas, you want to see Sam, right? And I'm all puffed up because I know we're going to get a raise, right? So Sam goes up and he goes, hello, fellas, because Sam bowled on the tour for like 8 years. He won a couple titles. He knew all those guys, and he had a lot of knowledge. He knew what he was talking about. And so he says, they called me in, mate, what's going on? And now I looked around, and all these guys, greatest guys in the world, all looking down at their feet. Nobody wanted to say nothing because it's not a union or anything. It's independent contractors are all these guys. And so he goes, well, come on. I flew out here from Grand Rapids or someplace. What's going on? And so Ritker, who never complained about anything, he stands up and he goes, oh, Sam, he goes, you know me, I don't complain, but the guys wanted me to talk to you. And he says, hope you're not going to get mad. He says, but here's some of our suggestions. Sam goes, what? Go ahead. And he says, why do we have to play the same place every week? So because what we did was we made them really nice around the second arrow, because everybody can bowl the second arrow. If the lanes are screwed up and it's a gutter shot, you've limited the field to how many guys can win. If you made it fourth arrow, fifth arrow, you've limited the amount of guys that can win, but everybody can win playing the second arrow. That's how they learned how to bowl. So, well, what do you want us to do? Well, can you just throw some variety in there? It's the same shot every week. Well, Sam goes, okay. He says, but you know what, guys? It's going to be something else pretty soon, next time. So, all right. So we went back to the drawing board. And at that time, there was 5 machines on the market: B90, Lucky Lane King, Century, 300 and 100. And this other one, it was called the Rotobuff.
And just to let everybody know, Kegel was not invented back in the day. So these are what you had. These are the Cadillac of lane machines, right?
Exactly. And they all had wicks. And that was the biggest problem, because they all had, the oil had to transfer from the reservoir up through these wicks onto a roller onto the lane. So by the time it transferred that many times, the oil was pretty much worn out. So the lefties always had an edge, especially on these machines, because they were not very capable of being repeating. So we would go to Waukegan. They'd have a Lucky Lane King. It would be a gutter shot. We go to L.A., and that would be fourth arrow, because they had a Brunswick B90. And then we go someplace else. They had a Century machine with the wicks, with the shims in there. It's a second arrow. So we realized that every machine had its own capabilities, except they wouldn't be consistent. And so we talked to all kind of people all around the country, every distributor, and we talked to the old-time lane men. And they go, you can't count on these machines. You got to use a spray gun.
Yeah.
What do you mean a spray gun? And, well, because, if you want to play an outside shot, you just don't oil to the gutter, And if you want to make fourth arrow, go further, blah, blah, blah. So now it didn't make any difference what machine we used because we weren't going to use them anymore because they were useless. So we started using a spray gun, and then we developed what they call the Christmas tree pattern, which was, 5 to 5 for the spray and 10 to 10 and 15 to 15. So if the lane would play, in other words, if it was a good resurfacing job, the straight players could play out, the crankers could play in, and the strokers could play up the track. So that was very rare because, I know you've been around a long time, and I'm not going to knock anybody, but when a resurfacer comes in, he's got his number one way to do it, and he can give you the first-class job. It's going to cost you $2,000 a lane, but he can do it real fast and charge you $100 a lane. So what do the proprietors go?
You get what you pay for, exactly.
Hurry up, get out of here. I don't want to be closed down, So the lanes would get beat up pretty quick, and then we started seeing the balls, okay? Back when we started, there was only 5 stars, and 3 daughters, and crown jewels, and there was not abuse. They were real hard, and the finish on the lanes was lacquer, and that was real soft, okay? And so hard balls would eat up the soft track, and wouldn't last very long, maybe 6 weeks. But nobody wanted to go out and recoat again. No, we can make it last till the summer, and the lanes started getting worse and worse, and we started to make sure that they'd recoat every summer and resurface every other year. And that really kind of helped us along. And it got to a point where we could walk into the bowling centers, me and Sam, and just look at the surface and say, it's going to take about 220 over to make the finals, maybe 115 to cash. And we were close every week. And the funny thing was, so many times we'd go to a place, let's say Minot, North Dakota, and the tournament turned out perfect. The next week it was a dungeon. And they go, why didn't you do this the way you did them last week? I said, we did, but it didn't turn out that way. It's a different surface. And so the seminars on the concourse were every night. And I had patience. And by growing up with Hardwick, he didn't have a very good game, but he had a great mind. And he taught me about the mental game. He says, I don't care if you're a baseball player, lawyer, or whatever. If you don't have a good mind, a good helmet up there, you're not going to last. He says, besides, you get in a fight every night with some of these guys. And I learned the psychology part of LLM was after a tournament, guy'd bowl bad, and I'd say, well, who do you bowl like? I bowl like Brian Voss. Well, let's look at the scoreboard. Brian's 400 over. You're 100 under, And I said, sometimes you got to look at him and yourself instead of me. And unbelievably, Pards, I lasted for about 600 tournaments with those guys because I could understand them. And usually when there'd be a big argument, the following week, the guy that was bitching the most would come back and he'd say, hey, Lenny, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to pick on you last week. I'm going through a divorce. I'm overdrawn on my account. My wife's an alcoholic. I started hearing all these personal problems, So I started realizing it wasn't, I started calling it like a train, like a plane crash.
Like
it's not one thing, It's more than one thing when a plane crashes.
You told me once at the end of the week, 159 guys were looking to wring your neck, and there would be one guy looking to shake your hand every week. I always remember you told me that 159 guys are going to kill you, and there's one guy looking to buy you a drink at the end of the week. Yeah,
there's a video on there that Jeff Riggles made, and it talks about at the end of the tournament, I'm in the bar, and everybody's drinking. The winner of the tournament is buying everybody a drink. He'll usually put a limit on it, I was 500 and shut it off. Mm-hmm. And everybody's getting a drink, and I'm up in the corner all by myself, right? And so he looks over and he goes, why do I pay you $5? Because they had to pay $5 for the lane maintenance. He goes, I bowl good. what do so okay, that was every week, but you had to put up with it, just like an umpire. You do your best you can and be as honest as you can.
So,
And there was a couple of things that came up that's pretty important about favoritism and things like that.
well, I was going to touch on that too about the old left to the right, and I know that was a big thing back in the day. There's always stories about tampering with the one side and try to block certain people out, and you know
Yeah,
the famous thing is, the lane man can affect you by the push of a button, right?
yeah,
And
that
then
was yeah, exactly.
and then there was the famous lawsuit that happened as well, right? So I don't
That
think we're
was
going to get into that. That may be too deep,
well,
but
no, the lawsuit was a combination of things. Okay, that was part of it. Was the lane conditions because the guy that was doing the lanes at the time. Fortunately for me, I was retired. I was running a bowling center when all that came on, but he was using the same oil every week and getting a commission from it. So even if it didn't work, he's guy. So
so,
he wasn't safe.
so let me ask you this: so were there like, and I'm not saying you did it, but were there games that could have been played to block people out? Like, and I'm going to use Earl because Earl's the example, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic, probably the greatest to ever throw a bowling ball, arguably. Were
Okay.
there ways to block him out? Did people like? And I'm not saying you. I know you didn't do it. Guys that came in after you, were there malicious ways to say we're going to block this guy out this week? And how did they do it? Like, how do you block
Well,
somebody that good out, or try to?
if I wasn't there, I couldn't see it. I didn't see it. But we made $30 a day for expenses. That was for your room, board, uh, gasoline, laundry, everything. So there's no way I could live on $30 a day. So I always room with some bowlers, right? And
Mhm.
that's how I started, by rooming with guys, sleeping on the floor and all that. Well, I ran into some really good guys. I loved them. They called them the G Squad. Okay, it was Jim Godman, Butch Gerhart, and Don Glover. Three guys, crazy, having fun, party, everything.
Mhm.
So if that thought came into my mind to screw the lefties, I'm screwing my roommates. Why would I want to do that? Because two of them are lefties. Okay. And I always had a joke about things because I got a great sense of humor. And I say, why would I want to screw a lefty? My wife's a lefty and I don't screw her.
You are the best. You seriously are the best. But
But
how?
yeah,
But how could you do it though? Like, how could you? A guy that's that good, Earl or Johnny or Dave Davis, like those are the three best lefties from that generation, probably, right? Arguably the three best. How could you ever find a way to block them out? They're that talented. Like, aren't they going to find a way to figure out how to get to the 1-2?
well, they can, except they're going to see some irregular ball reaction. Let's say if you block the lanes, all right, you make them real easy, house shot.
Yeah, you
And you
wall
got 10 to 10, blah, blah, blah.
them. Mhm.
Okay. And you got to tunnel down the lane, whatever distance. Okay. So let's say the lefties are going gangbusters, they're lapping the field. Well, you might want to take your spray gun and go down 45 feet and spray a basketball down on the outside boards. So now you don't have swing area anymore. That's what you could do if you were one of them kind of guys that was a bounty hunter and you took your life in your own hands. But the thing is, when you're out there, um, you have to live with those guys. It's one big family, okay? And um, if you screw one guy, you're going to screw them all. So
Yeah.
why would you want to screw your buddies? That's what I always said. But yeah, there was some evidence of that happening with another guy. Fortunately, he's dead. He can't do that anymore. I never saw it because I worked with him. But when I worked with him for 6 months, when I went back in '83 in '84 for 6 months, I told the boss, Mark Gerbrick, I said, I will do the lanes. Have this guy go in advance. Have him check the pin decks, the approaches, all that. I don't want to be around this guy because he's not safe. And so he said, okay, that's fine with me. So we had a pretty good 84, the last part of 84, and then the winter tour of 83. So
This has something's coming out here. This is, I can see the chuckle. So
Yeah, well, so we get to the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
This is the one I was hoping you were going to tell everybody. This is a good one.
I'll tell it because
Yep.
there's nothing to hide.
I can't believe this.
Well, I can't either, but I saw it on television.
Hold on, Lenny. So first question is, can we name the guy that you're talking about? Can we name the deceased party or no? You know what? People that know the game probably know who he is. So we'll leave it like that.
Yeah, I would say so because it sounds like sour grapes for me saying it.
Yeah.
But I had enough guys hating me anyway, too, the same way,
I don't know how anybody can hate you. You're a handsome rascal. But please continue with your Firestone story. But this one's outstanding. This is absolutely disturbing.
Firestone, this guy, he was a guy that worked in Akron. He would be the advanced man. So Akron's coming up, and that's a big week. I mean, it's banquets. Everything's perfect. Playing golf at the Firestone. I mean, you name it, it's first class.
Yeah.
Everybody had their banners up on the Market Street down there. It was first class. They had over 50 guys in the press room from all over the country. So it was the #1 tournament of the year, highest price, the whole thing. And so this guy says to me, "You can take that week off." I says, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, I know that house, Riviera." He says, "I've been going in there every week for the whole winter tour, and I bowl my league there, and I know every board, I know everything, the whole place." He says, "So you can just take your vacation." I said, "Sounds good to me," because it was pretty easy. Yeah, it was like one squad a day back in those days, and you had a limited field of like
50 guys, right? 50.
Yeah, 48 or 50 guys, yeah. And so they're all bowling at the same time. It was really fair kind of a tournament. So anyway, this tournament's going on, and so now I'm in there every day not watching the guys do the lanes because why not us? I'm not going to get in there at 4:00 in the morning.
You're on
So
vacation.
Come in. Huh?
You're on vacation.
I'm on vacation. Yeah. So there's a bunch of press guys. In fact, you might know some of them. Mike Sands.
Michael's from Texas. Mike Sands.
Yeah. And then Bobby Dinkins was out there then.
Chuck Pisano was probably out there, right?
Chuck, yeah. Bud Fisher. Chuck. The other guy, Chuck, the accountant guy, Chuck Clemens. Okay. But anyway, so we'd go in there in the morning, have breakfast, and then wander around, watch them bowl. And this place was sold out. The fire department was there counting heads. And if you were out in this parking lot trying to get in and you didn't get in under the wire, they wouldn't let you in. So they had a certain amount of people. So anyway, we'd get there early, go in the bar, and go in the restaurant, whatever. So now everything's going down. It's a good tournament. In fact, you know what I did just to make sure I was up to date because, your memory fails you sometimes.
He's bringing a prop out. This is great. Everybody's bringing props out.
Yeah. So anyway, during the week, it's pretty fair. I mean, the scores were high, but, it's lefties, righties up there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And so now the TV show is going to start. So we had a big TV in the bar. So we had a table for the staff sitting right in front of things. We had the best seats in the house. And so it was all being cooked were the lefties that made the show, plus Salvemini. Remember him?
Yep, from Reno.
3 lefties and Durbin and Pappas. They made the show. Great bowlers, okay?
All Hall of Famers, basically, except for Salvemini. They're all Hall of Famers.
Exactly. So Salvemini snuck in somehow because some of these guys aren't the greatest, but they're still good. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, time goes by, and the very first match was Durbin and Cook, and it was a pretty close match. It looked like Durbin had a little more area. Steve was struggling. He was all over the place. He ended up shooting 190, and Durbin shot 205. It wasn't that close. Okay, even he won by 20, so it wasn't that close. The bad thing was Cook had averaged 235 for the week. Okay,
Jesus.
Yeah, 235. He qualified like 4th. What it was, and so he's got air. Okay, And he's not a guy to ever complain. He never said a word, blah, blah, blah.
Like he's a gentle giant, huh? He was a gentle giant?
Gentle giant, yes. So the next match was Durbin and Pappas. Durbin shoots 255. It should have been 320 because he buried every shot. And Pappas kind of gave up. He shot 199.
Okay.
And so now the next match was Durbin and Salvemini. Okay. So, and I don't have the score of that. Okay. I couldn't find the score. But anyway, Durbin swamped them. Okay. Salvemini didn't have a chance. So now it's Albee and Durbin.
And Albee's fantastic, by the way. One of the best to ever do it.
He might be the best of all time. I mean, I don't know. He's right there in the top three. Him and Duke, besides Earl and Walter Ray, these guys are awesome. So anyway, they start out blah, blah, blah. And Albee shoots 163. His low game for the week by 100 pins.
On the show.
Yeah, on the show. And Durbin shot 246. So everybody's going, what the heck happened here, And so I get up and I go and I see the commissioner, Joe Antonora. I says, Joe, banquet tonight, I'm out of here and I quit. He goes, why? I said, whatever happened out there, I don't want any part of it. So I'm done. So I quit. That was like the third time I quit. I quit 5 times this simple job.
Like the manager of the Yankees, keep getting fired and coming back, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that was one indication of, I didn't see him do anything because I wasn't there at 4 o'clock in the morning. But Albee and Cook don't go into a slump at the same exact time.
Especially if Cook averaged 235 and Albee's probably around the same thing for the week. So
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean to tell me that for one game they're going to bowl 160 for the money? That doesn't sound kosher, right?
Exactly.
And taking nothing away from Durbin. I mean, Durbin's fantastic, but
he won 3 times at the Firestone, so he liked that house. Number one.
Didn't he buy the house eventually, or he was a partner in that center?
No.
I thought he was partner in that center eventually.
He should have been because he took a lot of money out of there.
That's unbelievable, though. So you quit 5 times. So when did you come back after the Firestone? So I was 84. So when did you come back again?
Okay, they kept begging me, come on back, please. This guy's a nitwit. And so, the reason I quit the first time was me and Sam, we had it down to a science. And we would know pretty much within a few pins what it was going to take because we had a great idea what the surface was like and all that. And we knew what we were doing. And so we kept asking for a raise. We were the low men on a totem pole being the lane guys, right? I was making 10,000. Sam was making 12,000. Okay. Of course, this was back in 71, but still, that was still very low on the totem pole. I mean, there were carpenters making 30,000, back in the day. So we both went to him and Sam says, I need more money. He says, well, I'm going to get a job at this ball company. And he goes, well, go ahead. And so Sam leaves. And so he goes, well, you got Sam's job now. You got to find somebody. So we didn't have any applications because people were stupid. I mean, they weren't stupid. They knew the job was an idiot. You got to be an idiot to do that job. So there was none, no applications. So 2 weeks goes by. I get my check. And I figure I'm going to make 2,000 more a week because I get Sam's job now.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So I went to the guy, the auditor, Chuck Clemens. Chuck, I'm supposed to get Sam's raise. Oh, I don't know about that. He says, that's all he told me to give you. So he gave me $1,000 raise, but a $2,000 job, right? In the difference. And so I go in the office. I says, Joe, I can't make it on $11,000 a year. I got child support, everything else. He goes, well, you don't like it? You can quit with Sam. I says, okay, goodbye. Now he's done. He's got nobody. He had nobody to do anything. They had no case records. They had, we're using a spray gun. We'd walk in and go, oh, this is going to be about 28 sprays on this pattern, this. and we have it pretty much nailed.
Did you design the pattern every week, or did the like Antonora say to you, "Hey, we wanted it 27 feet buff to 36"? Or how did that?
He had nothing to do with it because he knew nothing about it. It was up to Sam and me.
So you designed it every week based on where you were going. Surface, you decided, hey, we're going to go 32 feet, 44 feet. You made it up every week.
Kind of. Okay, that's close. But Sam would go in advance, okay? And he'd get 20 guys to come in and throw shots. And Sam would go out with his spray gun, and we had him all matched up. He had the same kind of technique as I did, and he'd do different pairs, different ways. And then he'd watch the ball reaction all day until these local yokels thumbs were hanging out, right? They loved it. Oh, we're the test guys for the PBA, you know, all these local hokels, man. So we got a pretty good read on that. So I would get there on Sunday, and that night for Monday, which was an open day or a rabbit squad day, I'd put down exactly what Sam would want because he was there last. He saw what was gone. And so I'd watch the rabbit squad. And so I could make adjustments to that. If we needed more oil, less oil, more hold, more swing, whatever. And so, you know, there's something that people don't know, that we had priorities, but so does the house. Okay. The bowling center is giving up the bowling center for a whole week. Mm-hmm. They're giving us 30 to 50,000. They're throwing out all their leagues. And all of a sudden they kind of want to brag about their house. Right. And one of the reasons that they would bring us in is because their lane sucked, okay? And everybody's bitching. And they thought, well, we'll bring the pros in, and the pros will whack them, right? And so then the local guys won't be able to bitch no more. But that's really what would happen. Their priorities were that. They wanted scores. The overwhelming most of the guys, except for the guy in Edmond, Oklahoma. Remember that guy?
Oh, yes, he owned a Boulevard Bowl.
Very good. See, I knew you knew this stuff.
Oh God, I can't think. He used to back a bunch of guys.
Richard Altman.
Richard Altman, that's the guy. Yep.
Yep.
He backed a bunch of guys. Yep.
We had the U.S. Open there one year, and he'd been around. He was a good bowler. He was action, and he had like 9 guys, and I had to go in and meet with him for the U.S. Open. Huge tournament, 200,000. Mm-hmm. I go in. I got my bag, spray gun in it, and he goes, "What's up?" And I go, "Well, I'm just talking to you about, you know, our priorities and your priorities. You know, we want to make you happy too." And he goes, "Make them work." He goes, "This is U.S. Open." So I tell you the God's honest truth. They started out both sides playing inside the 4th arrow, man, because we went so far with the oil, they couldn't leak it anywhere. If they leaked it, they left the whole back
off the cliff.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you this: was it easier to adjust the pattern by hand or by what we have now with the modern machine?
By hand, because if you look at what they got now, I mean, if you have a trained eye, they're walling the shit out of them every week.
Then how is it possible? I don't. This whole premise is not to talk about today's game by any means, but I'm going to ask. Was somebody had texted me during the show and wanted me to throw this one out there. So here's the question.
Okay.
Why does the left suck on tour? And why is it that those guys can only score at urethane today? Back then, it was different. Like, there was more diversity back then. So why is it different now than it was 30 years ago or 20 years ago?
Because they're walling them up. And if you give every right-hander the nuts, there ain't enough lefties to keep up. That's what, if you look at the pattern and they have that overlay, they show you what it is. And, you know, I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody, but but there's one guy I watched 7 weeks out of 8. He was sliding on 40, throwing it through 22 out to 5 and striking. He did that every week for 7 weeks. So if you do that, that guy's going to have an advantage. If you make it a gutter shot, Ozio is going to have an advantage. If you do something else, somebody else is going to have it. But so for some reason, I don't know this for a fact, but I guess they want to make a superstar out of somebody. That's how you can do it. Just give them their favorite shot because they're all great.
Of course.
Belmo had it for a couple of years. What's his name? Guppy. He had it for a couple of years. Yep. Now this guy's got it for a couple of years.
So easier to basically adjust it by hand. regardless of all the technology, it was always, even to this day, easier by hand. But could they even use a spray bottle now, or is it?
No, the oil's too thick; it won't go through the spray gun.
So there's nothing they could do to make it like it was back in the day. You can't.
Well, they could probably make a bigger spray bottle, where it would go through. But when we were doing the lanes, okay, in the 70s and 80s, the oil was mineral oil. Okay, it was like 50% mineral oil and 50% alcohol, because once you got it on the lane, the alcohol would disappear, and just the mineral oil would stay on the lane. Okay, so when what's that word? The UDOT, not the UDOT, the Columbia 5Ps and all those came along. Okay. We had to add an additive to the oil because the oil wasn't strong enough. Okay. We put 3 ounces of SDP into a 128 gallon vat, stirred it up, and it stayed in solution. All that did was, it was like 2% of the oil was now an additive. Okay. And so that would make the lane stand up, because if you remember right, we only could oil once a day back in those days.
That's right. You only oil once a day.
Now they got to oil every other game, just about, because it's stupid.
So here's another one that came in.
Okay.
We'll start to wrap it up a little bit here. Okay, we're getting to that magic 45-minute mark. So
really,
42 minutes so far.
I'm not paying attention.
You're gonna be coming back, because we got a lot more we can go with this.
Good.
So there was a time when urethane was the top and the top ball of choice. Okay.
Yeah.
We know that reactive and today's atomic bombs have changed the game forever.
Yeah.
It's pushed urethane aside, except the times and conditions when the consensus is that you must use urethane. At those times, there are players who complain, say they don't match up, they hate urethane, and even call them to be outlawed. So what do you think of that controversy as the lane man of all lane men, and how can it be addressed?
Okay, great question. Some guys are built for plastic balls. Some guys are built for urethane. Some guys are built for reactive resin. Depends on your release and your whole game, actually. Okay, so when it comes right down to it, like Don McCune, when he was bowler of the year and he had a soaker, he couldn't average 190 today out there. Okay, because this ball would hook in his backswing. Okay, that was the problem. So, like back in the day, if I sat here long enough, I could think of about 20 guys that urethane screwed these guys. Ron Palumbi, as an example. I mean,
well, you mean resin screwed, or not urethane? Resin.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that technology, what it did was it increased their head belly. Now they got to throw the ball more to the right, and now that's not their game. Their game is down and in. Okay, whatever. So, I mean, even Mark Roth, he wouldn't have a chance nowadays, because he had to throw the ball hard, and the ball would never pick up. And I love Mark; he was awesome. He changed the game for a lot of reasons. But
when did the ball start affecting the patterns?
Oh God!
Or is that another topic for another day?
Yeah, that's another topic. But urethane would be that, because there's so much carry down with urethane.
So let's wrap it up with this one, all right? I'm going to give you 2 quick ones.
Okay.
You were out there for almost 40 years, right? 30, 40 years? How long were you out there? 30 years?
Yeah, well,
Well, you're a Hall of Famer. You've seen them all, right?
I have.
Who's the best player you ever saw?
Well,
all around, physical, mental, repeating shots, everything. Who is the best one you ever saw?
All right. This argument can go on forever. Okay. I've been asked this 100 times. I've had to put it in categories of eras.
Obviously.
Okay. So I got it right here. In fact, I wrote it down just in case you asked me.
And this is not pre-scripted either. I didn't know Lenny had this written down.
No, you didn't know. I got it right here. Here it is. This is fresh off the biological stuff. In the 60s, it was Carter, Weber, Harry Smith, Hardwick, and Sutar. Those guys dominated the 60s.
Okay.
In the 70s, now we're starting to go to softer balls, okay?
Now we're in plastic. We're in plastic now, right?
Now we're in plastic. Crown jewels.
You have 5 names? You have 5 names?
Yes.
Can I try to guess them? See if I can read your mind?
I respect your knowledge.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Ritger.
Yeah.
Hardwick.
No.
Oh.
He died out.
I'm going to say Roth, but I don't know if you have Roth in the 70s or the 80s. I don't know which one you have.
In the 70s, yeah.
I don't want to say Marshall. I want to say Marshall would be in the 80s.
Well, Marshall was awesome, but he was never bowler of the year.
No, so
in that period.
I would say Johnny, but Johnny never won bowler of the year. So I'm going to put Johnny as the 5th one. I'm probably off on that one. So I would say, well, no, Earl. Earl will be the one in the 70s.
Exactly.
Earl, Johnson, Ritger, Roth, and I'm leaving one out.
How about Walter Ray?
Well, not in the 70s.
Why not?
When did Walter come in and break through?
When he was the bowler of the year in '86.
Yeah, no. So I thought we were still in the 70s. I thought we were.
Okay. No. I got it so wrong, man. I got this in the wrong place.
Yeah. So the 70s would be Don, right? Don, Ritger, Earl, Roth, and I can't think of a 5th one.
I wrote down a long time ago Brian Voss. He had a hell of a 70s career.
I didn't even know Voss bowled in the 70s.
Oh yeah. In fact, that's when he joined. He joined, and when I was in the office, and we used to get the ballots of all the guys that joined, and we'd all have to look at it, see if this guy was a good guy. They didn't know all these people, right? So they had to try to find out if these guys were good guys or bad guys. So I saw Brian Voss. He averaged 179 in leg. Okay, I'm thinking this guy's a poor devil, So 3 months later, he's bowling in a tournament. So I see his name in the roster. So I run down. I got to see him. This guy's beautiful, man.
He's a gorgeous human being.
Oh, yeah. I says, where the hell did you get your 179 average? He goes, well, my dad was in the Air Force. We bowled a lot of dungeons up in Alaska, just like that Ron Moore, okay? Mm-hmm. Unbelievable player. All right, go ahead.
So we're in the 80s now, right?
We're in the 90s.
Odd.
80s was Albee, Anthony, Voss, Ozio, and who was the other one?
Wayne Webb.
Yeah, he was bowler of the year in 80. He was awesome. Yeah.
So if you go to the 90s, you got to put Pete.
Yep.
I would say Norm.
Yep.
Parker. No, I guess Parker not in the 90s yet. So Norm, Pete, and Leto?
No.
All right, I'm totally off.
Okay, Weber, Albee, Duke.
Okay.
Duke, Walter Ray.
Walter.
And Belmo.
Okay.
You got to throw him in there somewhere. But anyway.
All right, so last one. This one's an easy one, and I think you're going to have this one written down anywhere.
I bet I do. Wait a minute. I got papers.
Probably do. Who's the best guy that never won on tour?
Oh, man.
I ask this to everybody, and there's one answer. Everybody says the same guy over and over.
Yeah. I know who you mean.
He's a lefty.
Yeah, this guy was just awesome.
Richie Wolf.
Richie Wolf, exactly. And what a great guy. What a great guy he was.
I mean,
I'd say people rooted for him. Even the other bowlers were rooting for him. That's how good this guy was.
It's amazing that he never got to the winner's circle. He was just smooth, effortless.
And, there was another guy that was really great, John Gant, man.
Big guy.
He was saw those pins, man. I'll tell you what, they had to refurbish the whole back end when he got done.
So he was the first, him and Cook were the real first, powerful, power guys on the tour, right?
Yeah.
And then you made the way for guys like Robert Smith and guys like that.
Yeah. Open up that head area. We used to have categories, like if you were a straight player, you had one board of head belly, like Schlegel. Okay.
Okay.
If you were a tweener, you had two boards, like Ozio. If you had three boards, that was like Voss, where you threw the ball away from the pocket. Three boards. You never get, if you're looking at 10, you never got it past 7. Okay. Stuff
Seven's
like
the gutter, yeah.
Okay. So, and then the power players were Roth and Holman. Okay. They had 4 boards of swing, head belly. And so anything after that, these guys were throwing the ball everywhere. Okay. Because it's hard to get that kind of a thing. The angles is just weird. I mean, if you try to do it, that's why Ernie can never play in with Monticelli.
Well, he was a full roller too, wasn't he?
He was at one time, yeah. Yeah.
But he can never step into, like you just said, Monticelli. He can never step into that part of the lane. It was impossible.
No, but on the other side of the coin is Monticelli could never play the gutter either.
That's true.
Because if he had a 3-board head belly, hit 2, it was in the gutter.
All right, here. This is the last one. I promise this is the last one.
Yeah, you said that to your wife the other night.
She loves you, by the way. Jackie sends her best.
I love her too. She's beautiful.
Who's the best guy right of 5 you ever seen?
The best guy what?
Best guy to play right of 5. I have 3 guys that I can think of.
Okay, well.
2 are Hall of Famers and one's not.
Well, I've seen this guy play the twig many times, but there's 3 guys.
Dave Ozio is one for me.
Ozio is number 1. Burton is number 2.
Really?
Oh God, he could hit the one board like nobody's business. Yeah. Of course, that was his only game. If he had to swing the second arrow, he got a nosebleed, man.
I never saw Bo bowl, so I always heard Bo was the most accurate bowler to ever put a pair of shoes on. Deadly accurate.
Well, he was when he broke that record, because I was there. I went out and saw the lines across the second arrow, man.
Did you do him that day for that show when he broke it?
Yeah.
So, all right, so you say Bo. I say Norm is number 2.
Okay, yeah. No.
And then there's a guy from New Jersey. He bowled on tour in the 90s for a while. He made a couple shows. He never won. Guy by the name of Jeff Morin.
Jeff Morin, of course.
Not the Jeff Morin from the 80s, the Jeff Morin from the 90s.
I know him, yeah.
And I swear to God, I watch that guy. Even now, he still bowls. He plays the gutter like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And Charlie Tapp is chiming in with the guy here. Jay Robinson playing the gutter.
Jay Robinson, God bless his soul. He won the Tiger Open that time.
Lenny, I could go on for another hour, but we're going to cut it off because I know you got things to do, people to do, and things to see, right?
You know what? You're still getting comments from people?
Yeah, people are texting me as we talk here. And by the way, kudos. How about congratulations? The senior tournament's over, the PBA 50. And Mika went to the winner's circle for the first time.
Good for him. Yeah.
That's a hell of a player right there.
Oh, yeah. What did he do? He must have drugged Janowitz.
Now, how good is Janowitz? Like, forget the bowling side. I think John is the smartest man in bowling, knowledgeable. Patterns, machines, forget the game. He's a genius. So is he the closest thing to you? Well, I mean, you were a genius when it came to the lanes back in the day. So is John this version of Lenny Nicholson now?
Let's put it this way. If I was leading a tournament, I would want Janowitz to be doing the lanes because I would know he's going to do them right. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can't trust everybody sometimes when that comes down to the final shot. This guy, I say about Janowitz, you've probably seen my quote. He's a overnight sensation after 40 years of hard work. No shit. He started out with Kegel way back in the day, bowling those 10 gamers and 5 gamers and all that, getting his butt beat. And he figured it out.
Lenny, if he would have bowled on tour, you think he would have had a Hall of Fame career? But now he's going in the Hall of Fame now, based on what he's doing the senior stuff. 8 titles, 9 titles, whatever it is. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Do you think he would have been a Hall of Famer if he bowled professionally back in the day when he was younger?
Yes. He's too smart.
He's fantastic. And he's the nicest guy in the world, too.
Yes, he is.
and it's almost scary how good that is in his 50s. How about this one? So everybody wants to keep going.
All right, give me another one.
What's the best era you saw? 70s, 80s, 90s, most talent-wise?
70s.
And that's what Billy Hall said the same thing. Billy said the exact same thing.
I mean, you had those guys. I mean, just get a roster. Do you have any of those press guides from the PBA?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just look for 70s, man.
But there were guys in the 80s too that were just outstanding. I mean,
not as a field. I mean, you're talking about a field. 160 guys. Back then, in the 70s, about 100 guys could win.
Okay.
Now 100 guys, only about 30 could win.
You mean now, or you mean like in the 80s? You're talking
yeah, nowadays, yeah.
Oh, well, what I'm forgetting about now is you can't. That's apples and oranges. You can't compare now.
Exactly, but it's been that way for a while.
You saw all these guys bowl. Yeah. You'd have one guy to throw a shot for the money. Who is?
I tell you,
I think I know who it is, and I think he's from Oklahoma.
Yes, he is. Tony Westlake.
Everybody says that. I mean, it's either Roth or him. But Westlake was. I mean, he had a good career, but he was no Roth.
No, but
what was the difference?
When he got near it, he could sniff it. He never tugged it, never sent it. He never did anything but walk back, shake the other guy's hand, say, nice game.
Those guys from like the Southwest, so like him and Ozio and Ballard and Dickinson, even those guys, it seems like that region of the country was just the strongest talent pool ever. Duke came out of there. I mean, is that accurate to say that? Like that part of the country was just that good?
Well, let me give you one. I'll give you a little test here. So Walter Ray's won the most PBA titles, right?
Correct.
Who's second?
I think Weber is it Weber second? Weber has 100 now? Weber has 100.
This guy's got more.
Has more than Pete.
Yeah, he's from the Southwest.
You mean total national and the regional tour?
Yeah.
Now I'm drawing a blank. I thought Weber was number 2.
Well, I don't know the last couple of days. I haven't been up there watching, but last I saw this was about 3 months ago. And you're going to probably say, oh, yeah. Chris Warren.
Chris Warren, yeah.
He's got well over 100 total tournaments.
And it's a shame he's not a Hall of Famer either.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. You know, that was another one we did. I did that a couple of years ago with the Hall of Famers. Guys that should be in there. So Chris Warren was one of them. Guppy was one of them. Hugh Miller was another one. Schaefer was another one. And it eventually, like, you have to kind of like let these guys in a little bit. Like Jaros got in. Jaros deserved it 1,000%. You know,
he was tough.
They all were. But like the guys in the 80s going in the 90s, like those guys in the 80s, like I love Dave Ferraro. Dave Houston, love those guys. Those guys were players because they could do it with the ball, but they can do it up here too. Like they knew how to bowl. I love watching them now when there's like guy goes flat 10, 4-pin, and they run off the set to the ball rep. It's like, what do I do? When you saw like Houston go flat 10, 4-pin, he just tweaked his hand a little bit and have a 5-timer. Yeah. They all knew how to bowl. Like those guys are just. Voss was another one. I bowled in the U.S. Open one year at Carolier, and I crossed with Brian Voss. It was like watching an artist paint a picture for 18 games.
Yeah.
It was like you just kept your mouth like, how is he doing this? And all he did was play right up 17 for 18 games straight. And his move was literally just tweak his hand. He never missed the seam, and he was about 100 over for the block or for the qualifying block. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Those guys, I wish we could see more of them. I do.
I know. I'm telling you, Stefanich, people don't even know him. They never heard of him.
It's like the Babe Ruth comparison. It's like because you never saw Babe Ruth play baseball, he never existed. Like people never saw Jim Stefanich bowl. I don't know what a Jim Stefanich is.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm from Jersey, so and you know, my home center is Parker Johnny, right?
All right.
For years, you've known me for years. There are kids now, and I say kids like in their early 20s that are up and comers, right? And they see Johnny bowl. Johnny Bull's league. And Johnny's 75, 76 years old. But, I mean, he had bad knees. He throws the ball 14 miles an hour. He's a shell of what he used to be, right?
Yeah.
And when they hear that this guy's won 14 titles on tour, he's a Hall of Famer, they look at him like, how?
Yeah.
Like, you don't – the people now don't appreciate what these guys did back in the day.
No way.
And they don't understand how good they really were.
Yeah, that's like I always talk about Sutar too. He won his very first term. I think it was like a PBA national when he first came out back in the early '60s, and he was still winning on the senior tour in the '90s. I mean, he logged more miles driving that camper around. Unbelievable.
And his wife was a good player too, right?
Judy, yeah, she was awesome, no doubt.
All right, we did the hour, so I'm gonna end it right now. I promise you 45. I owe you 15 minutes back somehow. I promise you. But
just get me back on her. Get some questions and answers, something like that.
Well, that's the thing. People have been blowing my phone up for the past hour.
Good.
And one guy just texted me, keep him for another hour. Pay him for another hour. I'm not doing that. I can't do this. So I do want to bring you back. And so the whole premise of this, like, is just to talk about the past. I think this is great. People love hearing about the stories of yesteryear, right?
Yeah. How about next time we'll do a few stories from the past?
That's what we want to hear. So the one I'm working on now, I was actually talking to him tonight. This is going to be, this could be a complete shit show. Pardon my French. Tappan Hutch, Charlie Tappan, Joe Hutch.
Okay.
But we're also going to try to get Mike Miller to join them.
Okay.
If there's
make sure he keeps his clothes on.
If there's any three zanier guys than those three.
No.
But people want to hear the stories, and I want to bring like the past back. You know, everybody on Facebook and on the internet, they love hearing all these old stories from you and from Litchie and from all these old guys or the older guys, right?
Yeah.
We'll bring them to the forefront. Like I always said, I would love to make a movie or write a book about all the stories, all the action stories and whatnot. Well, we can't do that. So we can do this once every other week, 2 times a month.
All right. I'm game.
Lenny, I love you. You're the best.
Love you too. Give my best to
everybody. Do I have to?
Yeah.
All right, Lenny. Thank you, buddy.
You're welcome.
We'll be
Thank
back in 2 weeks, and like and subscribe to the channel. And Lenny, you're still doing your Phantom show, so plug your Phantom show for me.
Yeah.
We'll do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's on kegel.net. I got juniors now. I got 194 junior bowlers that we're helping. Awesome. Yeah, they don't have any tournaments, but we pass along knowledge and information to them. And the best part of the whole thing is I got a quotes section where they look up all these quotes. And like this one quote, this one kid, he says, "Mr. Len, I don't know what this means." And he writes it down. And this quote was, "No matter if you think you can or you can't, you're right." You know, I said, "Go ask your mother." So he did. And she, "Oh, Mr. Len, that's pretty cool. If you think you can do it." "Yeah, I like that." "Oh, thanks, Mr. Len."
Well, you know what, Mr. Len, you're the best. I'll be in touch. I always reach out to you to check in and whatnot. So,
all right,
you'll be back. Thank you, Lenny. Guys, 2 weeks we'll be back, and hopefully Charlie Tapp and Joe Hutch and everybody. Thank you, buddy. And we're going to wrap this one up, and we'll see everybody in a couple weeks.
Bye-bye. Bye.